Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Dr. Rebecca Finlayson Harper. I'm so excited for today's guest, Dr. Linda Lara. So, Dr. Linda Lara is the founder and director of Civility as a solution of Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley obviously is a hot topic, especially now in the COVID, where we now need Silicon Valley. We need internet. We need all these apps. So it's going to be I'm so excited for today. Every person has the potential to change the world, and each of us has a moral obligation to find and build that potential for the betterment of humankind. This is according to Dr. Linda A. Lara, who's an entrepreneur, award-winning community changemaker, in-demand trainer, and professional speaker. In addition to her many credentials in the transformation leadership, Dr. Lara has a PhD in theology, is a Golden Rules civility statesman, an ordained minister, candidate for Master Civility Trainer status under the ICTC, and upon completion will be one of only 17 Master Certified Trainers in the world. Civility helps change culture and intentionally helps people to be civil in what they say, what they do, and how they treat people. So I couldn't have asked for a better guest today to talk about what we do and how we treat families. Thank you, Dr. Linda Lara, for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Rebecca, so much for having me. I just love your show. I watch it. You have such amazing guests on here and really bring awareness to civility in the family. Thank you for having me today.
This is amazing. Thank you so much. And remember, those who are watching, like, share, start a watch party, and comment, ask questions, because this is how we're going to talk about a topic that is very passionate to me. Having children with special needs, having children who were tossed away by the education system and, told they were slow and lazy. They had audio processing disorder. They had dyslexia. They all three have dyslexia. And what happened was, in the education system, my kids couldn't learn how they were being taught. But the teachers were, I don't know, they just felt that they couldn't. I always say we don't have bad learners, we have bad teachers. And a lot of teachers always got on to me about that. But let's talk about, because I know you feel the same way. But before we go to that passion, talk to me more about civility in the Silicon Valley.
Well, Silicon Valley, as we know it, is the capital, right, of all, anything that we use socially. We have Facebook, we have Google, right? We have eBay, we have Apple, okay? And the list goes on. So anything that we technically use in our everyday life, as we are right now, comes from the Silicon Valley. So, I want to say that we are very talented in our gifts as far as technology, okay? But as far as civility, that's a whole new subject, right? Because when you get to a level where you're creating and you're building and you're number one, because if you think of all the companies that I just mentioned, they're number one, right? And they're not just number one in our nation, they're number one in the world. No matter where you go in the world, you're using these technology aspects. So when it comes to civility, here you tend to think that you don't need to. You can talk down. You can, right? You can demand in any voice or any attitude you wish to demand on it, because after all, you're big. You own the stage. You own technology.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bullying going on in our companies that is really uncalled for and really hurting employees, which are good employees. And a lot of things one of the things I want to say they don't understand is when you degrade and you belittle your top workers, you're really stopping productivity, because now these top workers, these top, thinkers, engineers, creators, right, that are really are the ones that are helping your company grow,
Yeah.
you are now hindering them from wanting them to do their best, because now they're thinking, why should I? Right? Why should I go out 110% or
Yeah.
100 over and above when I'm not appreciated, right? I'm degraded. I'm talked to like I'm nobody. Why should I put in my all and make you successful if in return you can't even hold a decent conversation with me?
So
And
let's
so
bring
we
that
see
back
a
to
lot.
family, Dr. Lara, because this is
Yeah,
where we learn our social networking, as I say, our emotional intelligence.
right.
And the assumption and the stereotype is a lot of these people who work in Silicon Valley are extremely bright. Their
Yes,
social skills are not where they, because they were in front of a computer all day or they're on their apps, they speak through their, and therefore, how many are these top leaders actually on the spectrum? Or I don't, and I say on the spectrum based off of just label, having a label of understanding. So
mm,
I don't talk about labeling our children, but I do appreciate them in a sense of labeling for understanding.
yes, that's
And
good.
that is, and it's not to label, because we evolve as people and we grow as people, but helping to
Mhm.
understand the person. So civility goes both ways, as we know. We know Dr. Rivers asked the golden
Yes.
question. And one thing, when he speaks, I always think of this question: how can you treat others the way you want to be treated when your confidence and what you think of yourself isn't good enough? So, in
That's
other
right.
words, I'm going to treat you how I think I should be treated, because a lot of times I don't think I should be treated well. And I think that's the core of it, is that
Mhm.
self-awareness to say, hold on, I deserve to treat myself better. I
Mhm.
deserve to be treated better. Therefore, I will treat others how I want to be treated.
Yes.
These people, these top people who are doing the bullying, it's because they were bullied their life.
Yeah.
And starting
Yeah.
from the home.
Yeah. And see,
So,
and that's one of the
so
problems.
deep. And this is where we go to the family.
Exactly. And that is so true, because what they're missing is the value in people.
Yeah.
The value. Um, Dr. Rivers says there's 7.8 billion people, and they all have a contribution to this world.
And Silicon Valley proves that.
Yes.
How many
Yes.
of them actually, that's natural talent in a valley.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
not taught talent.
No, no. And a lot of these companies are startups in the garage, right?
Exactly.
Because what did they
Exactly.
do?
But then you say that and you say the human content and the worth. But again, they started in their garage. They hid away from people because people were mean to them.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's so much trauma in success.
Yes. Yes. And they were so smart that they were even labeled, right? Weird, you know, uh, you know,
Oh yeah,
you know,
slow, lazy, that they couldn't,
yeah,
because they
yeah,
probably have a past math, because they
yeah,
were
yeah,
so
yeah,
genius on other levels. They caught,
yeah.
or
But
probably English, I should say, wrong
yeah,
subject.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
my
yeah.
son, I give you an example. My son, when he was first tested, he
Uh-huh.
scored genius level in coding, but because of his dyslexia, he's average intelligence.
Mm.
Because his reading is below, so
Right, right, yeah,
you're balanced out,
yeah,
and so you have a hard job
yeah.
teaching civility. In how do you do it? Now that we've set the
Well,
groundwork of what you have to achieve.
yeah. Well, you have to live it. So you have to live it. You have to be the example, right? I like to say, not too long ago, I was in Hobby Lobby, right? I was in line with this one lady, and the line was long. Everything's in line now. We have to stand in line to get in. We have to stand in line to pay. We have to distance ourselves. And so I would happen to be on the phone with my granddaughter. And, when you're in line, they have stuff on the shelf. So you're looking at them, so I wasn't paying attention. And so I got too close to the lady that was in front of me.
Mm.
She turned around with such a bad attitude and, and tried to just, tell me how she felt about me not social distancing and getting too close. And I said, you know what? Excuse me, lady. Be nice. Be nice. I said, this is all new to us. We're not used to this.
Mm-hmm.
And so together, we're going to learn together, but we're going to learn how to be nice in line. And she
Yeah.
tried to get, attitude. I said, no, 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 nope. You're going to be nice. We're going to learn to be nice. This is
Mm-hmm.
a new, right? A new way of life now, being in
Yeah.
line, having to stay 6 feet. And we're going to do it, but we're going to do it nicely. We're going to learn to do it nicely.
I love
And
that.
and I would not let her, um, you know, Deborah from that, because I was persistent. We're gonna, and she, of course, she didn't like that. Of course, she didn't like that. But you know what? I stood on her the whole time. Every time she tried to say something disrespectful or something in a loud tone, I wouldn't accept it. I said, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, we're gonna learn this together. This might be our new normal. So if we're gonna be in line everywhere we go, we're going to be in line, but we're going to be nice to each other in line. So it's really, I could have got, whoa, got upset and, no, could have been an argument, went viral or whatever, because of us online. But knowing that I am a civility representative,
Mm-hmm.
it was up to me to walk and talk in a civility tone,
So I
but
love
yet
that story. I'll tell you
exercise
why.
what I know.
I love that story because you didn't just do it and showed
Right.
it, you taught it. And you
Yes.
stood up for civility towards you. So in Canada, the same thing would happen, and I would apologize profusely, explain
Mhm.
why I accidentally did it, but I didn't teach her anything.
Uh-huh.
I enabled the rudeness,
Yes.
whereas
Yes.
you took it to another level and
Yes.
taught.
Yes.
I love that
Because
story.
people ask what is civility. I like to say I'm civility. I'm civility not just when I'm in a good mood or when people are talking nice. I should live according to what I believe to be true.
Yeah.
And I believe that if this is the new normal, then civility has to be in action, right? And so we have to react in a civility manner. And we can't say, oh, and then go later on, oh, I have a class or a workshop in civility, I'll go teach it there. No, we have to
Yeah.
consistently be aware that we are civility. So we act in a civil way. We talk in a civil way, right? And
Mhm.
so I said, and I know she was very upset, and she probably wasn't going to listen at that moment. But I said, you know what? Maybe because you're upset and you can't get this, but you'll be in line with someone else later on, or you'll be in line with someone else tomorrow. Hopefully, you get what I'm trying to help you with now and take it then. It'll come back. Oh my God, I remember the lady in Hobby Lobby. She said we're going to be nice and we're going to learn to be nice.
Yeah.
And not everybody, is nice. That's just the way the world is. But we can learn. We can learn to be nice. We can learn to be kind. We can learn to talk
Yes.
in the right tone so that we're not offending, we're not upsetting. Regardless, some people, that's just the way they're going to be.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean we have to be that way.
I love it. You not only acted with civility, you spoke with civility, but you also taught it by saying, "I'm not enabling the
Yes.
rudeness," which is huge.
Mhm.
I mean, already there were three things. Wow. Amazing, amazing. And going back again, it's so when you're teaching or doing a workshop in the Silicon Valley with civility,
Mhm.
what are the things that you notice that we as a family should do, especially if we have a child that is talented in that realm?
Well, let me tell you, right now, everything's changed because now parents are having to be the facilitator working from home. So, everything's changed. A lot of here, and so we would drop our kids off at school and say, okay, deal with them, and I'll come back and pick them up, and hopefully they're acting right, according to the way I need them to. Well, things change. We're not dropping them off anymore, right?
Wow.
We're now the ones teaching them. We're the ones with them, and the hard part about it is trying to work yourself, trying to have your own job. and yet trying to also teach your kids. And now you need more than one laptop computer because now you're working. If you have 2, 3 kids, they need a laptop, they need a computer, so everything's changed, and we have to be aware of these things. So number one is uh as things change, we're going to have to remember that not only are we the mom and the dad now, but now we are the teacher. Okay, now we are the ones that are going to be teaching them not only academic wise, but social wise. So how do we want our kids to grow up? And everybody says you learn those things in school, right? Well, not only do you learn education in school, but you learn the bad things, right? You learn these things from your friends, because they'll come home and say things like, you didn't learn that here. Of course you didn't learn that here. You learned it from your friends, but now you don't have those friends.
Yeah.
Those friends are gone. So you have to remember, everything now that's taught is because you taught them.
No, so it's very, and single parenting isn't easy.
Thank you. It's not easy at all.
I'm like,
it's not easy.
It's not
so
easy.
So you really, really have to adjust to being the new teacher, right? And you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get, irritated. And some, to be honest, some parents don't have the education to teach their kids.
And so this is now a whole different ballgame.
Yes.
Because I used to be on the backs of my children's teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I tell you, I was one of those parents.
Okay.
But I was simple. And, in the sense of, I knew the only person to advocate for my kids were me.
Yes.
And that the teacher had multiple children to deal with. And if I wanted attention, I had to let my teacher know that I was their parent partner.
Yeah.
Right? I was there to partner with them.
Yes.
We were on the same team. So I was one of those parents that I was supported my teachers every which way. If my children got up in a bad mood, I emailed them and said, hey, I'm just letting you know, I dropped them off, but you ain't gonna have a nice kid today. But the teachers appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I expected the same support.
Uh-huh.
Well, one school gave it to me, but the other school, I literally had to email the principal, threatening the school to email the school board for any contact.
Wow.
And I said, I'm one of these parents you cannot point a finger to.
Mm-hmm.
I partnered with you. You always knew what child you were getting in the morning. You always knew what child you were sending home in the morning. I know I cannot teach my children. I know my weaknesses. You know my child's weaknesses, and you know my weaknesses. Where were you? And I think it goes both ways. And
that is so good. That is so. My daughters are the same way with my grandchildren, their children, and they're having a hard time. They're having a hard time not being with their friends and not having any social activity. They are really going into depression, and it's very hard for them. So we need to make sure that they're getting that social activity, even though we may be busy or involved in our own job. They really, I'm talking, they need social.
I hear it loud and clear. I mean, my son is on these games called, I never get them right.
Yeah.
But I hear him playing, and that's his social interaction, because he has a team. They're playing together. I love hearing him because he's a good job. Oh, good job. Oh, this, and he'll tell me, he goes, these two teammates, they're so toxic. I don't like them. I need teammates that are positive. I was like, but he got very depressed.
Yeah.
And he was staying up at night, sleeping in.
All right. Yeah.
Because how he coped was, if I sleep through the day, then I won't be missing anything.
Right.
Whereas if I'm up at night, everybody else is sleeping. So mentally, I'm up when everybody else is sleeping. So that was there. And this is the type of thing as a parent where you kind of have to, you said it, the new norm, and you have to change. And our parenting has to adapt.
Yes. Yes.
What I
Because,
now have to do is teach him to balance it and say, okay, you can play till 1 in the morning since you're not getting up till 9. But, you know, you can, I put him in summer school, which he wasn't happy about. Because I had to change his sleep pattern.
Yeah. And you know what? And they have to have time out from that.
Yeah.
You know, they cannot be doing that 24/7. You know, because that is why they're getting depressed. You know, that's why they're feeling anxiety, because a lot of these kids are having anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, and they're too young for that. It's just too young for them to be experiencing these emotional roller coaster up and ride. But it's simply because they're stuck in the house 24/7, especially if mom and dad are working. They have to work, right? Mom and dad have to work, but that doesn't mean that they just leave their kids in the room playing so they're out of their way or sleeping. You know, I know a lot of parents like that. They're staying up all night because they're sleeping in the day, and now they're able to work, right, without having, right, to deal with them because now they're sound asleep. Okay. And that might be great for mom and dad, but what's it doing to the child? What's it doing to the child who's not having any outdoor social activity, right? And so even taking them, my daughter takes her daughter for a walk, you know, and gets out, you know, and makes time on the weekend to get her outside. And this are some of the things that education cannot do. Okay.
And they're afraid. They're afraid to go outside because they're afraid of getting sick.
Yep.
And this is a whole different mental. I mean, again, it's going back to how do we adjust and where I bring it all back to civility is that we have to be, and Dr. Rivers says it, everybody's truths and perspectives, and we have to respect that even in the family.
Yes.
And I guess that's where why civility is so important in Silicon Valley, is because there's so different perspectives in there. Completely different. And you're not only having to respect it, but learn it.
Yes, because everything is fast here, right? Moving, everything's moving. We don't have time to stand in line, right? We don't have time, you know, to you know, be waiting, you know, and it's frustrating when we have to wait in line. And oh my God, just going to Starbucks now because they don't allow you to go inside. The line is so long, right? Everything is so long. Where before, you know, you there would be half people inside and half people, you know, in the drive-through, so you wouldn't have to wait so long. But now they closed the inside. You can't go inside. So now you're constantly in line for everything, right? And I'm not just talking about a few minute line. I'm talking about 20 minutes line. My granddaughter said 2020 was her year, right? And my daughter's thinking, what do you mean 2020 is your year? We have COVID, you know, we have riots. She said, no, Mom, it's my year because you're actually standing and waiting in line for me at Chick-fil-A. Where before you would never stay in line with me for, you know, that long old line. So she said, this is my year. You're acting. But see, that's the thing. We now have to go out of our way, right? And in that time, that time you're in the car, you're conversating, right? You're having a conversation. You're getting their mind out of those things. So where my daughter wouldn't wait in line before, now she sees how important it is to stay in line for 20 minutes, 25 minutes with her daughter, because that's what she wants, right? And it gets her outside. It gets her mind off of her emotional feelings at that time. So times have changed.
So let's move away from this because it's just very fascinating, and keep up the amazing work because it is, like I said, it's new and you're dealing with so many different personalities. So congratulations on seeing this need, and I you know, you're going to see it through their work. let's
Right.
go to Firehouse, because
Okay.
that is my, I mean, tell us more about what Firehouse is, how it started, and the whole theory behind it, and your successes.
Okay. Well, Firehouse started really because of my daughter. Okay. She was getting herself in a little bit of, trouble, little situation. So we knew we had to capture her or we would lose her. Okay. Again, Silicon Valley, it's big, it's busy. You got to keep moving, you got to grow, and you want to keep up with everybody, right? So you want to feel like you're part of, the in crowd and what's going on. So we knew we had to capture her and we had to keep her in a positive environment. And so what we did, we also are ministers and we have a church. So we started a youth group, but not just any kind of youth group from kids that had gone to the church. We decided to start this youth group with her friends. Okay. So
Mm.
it was strategic because if her friends were with us, where else could she go? Right. If she wanted to go with her friends would be with us. So we would do so many outings. I mean, we took them to the snow, we take them to amusement parks, we take them camping, we take them boating, fishing, everything you could think of, right?
Mhm.
All her friends. And so if she didn't go, she wasn't going to do anything because all her friends were with us now.
Mhm.
And so she began to love that now her house, right, was the house to be at. And it was all positive,
Yeah.
right? So we'd buy the pizza, we'd buy the soda, we put a pool table in our garage, we put a basketball court in our yard, and we'd do everything so that it would be appealing to the kids to want to hang out. And then
Yeah.
this way we could monitor them, right?
Mhm.
And we could speak to them, we could encourage them,
Mhm.
we can inspire them to be the best. So while of course my daughter grew up, right? And so now we still had these kids.
Amazing.
So we continued on. And my husband is really well with the kids. He knows how
Mhm.
to speak at their level and conversate with them. And I was the mother, right? Just
Yeah.
loving on them and encouraging them and seeing their lifestyle and meeting their physical needs and meeting their emotional needs. And so we have an agency here. It's called the Mayor's Gang Task Force.
Mhm.
And so Firehouse became one of the agencies for whenever there was gang problems or high
Mhm.
impact youth problems. And so we were the go between. And so we actually got into the school campuses. And now that's where we're at now. We do night gym for the kids that are not in school because believe it or not, a lot of kids don't go to school, right?
Yeah.
So we have night gyms where they can come and play basketball and different things inside the gyms. And then we can inspire them and empower them and encourage them that way. But Firehouse in the schools, we have an office on campus.
Wow.
Okay. And in order to get to our program, you have to have 4 Fs or more. I like to say, I like to say we have a lot of overachievers. They have all Fs. They want to make sure they get into the program, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I've done that. Amazing. So they have to be fantastically failing.
Yes. You know why? You know why? Because there's so many programs for the real overachievers.
So true.
The ones that are A students, the ones that are have
Yeah.
great GPAs. So in order for them to feel like they were really part of a program that was made just for them,
Mm-hmm.
we had to make that criteria like you can only be in those other programs if you're an all A student,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
So we wanted to
Love it.
make it right look like this program was just for them. You had to have qualifications just like the A students had to have qualifications. To be in any sports, you have to have high grades. You cannot have failing grades to be in any kind of sport in
Wow.
school, right? You have to have a certain GPA. And so we wanted them to feel like this program was designed specifically for them.
Amazing.
And what we give them we don't teach them any academic skills. We don't teach them reading, or
Mhm.
spelling, or we teach them how to stay in the classroom.
Yeah.
And we teach them how, right, to have the right attitude to be successful,
Wow.
to be able to be all that they're designed to be. And we pull out their gifts, we pull out their talents. What
Mhm.
are you good at? And then we just highlight that. We highlight
Amazing.
their gifts. We highlight, yes, you may not be good in math, but you're good in art. You
Yes.
may not be good in spelling, but you're good in music.
Mhm.
You're great in that. You're great in technology. So we highlight that and we pull that out of them. So now they can see that in order for them to be successful in what they're good at, they also have to succeed in their education so that they can go there and begin to, have a great career in what they're good at.
So we
And so, go ahead.
yeah, before we go to the successes, because I'm dying to
Okay.
hear the successes, we have a few comments on Facebook.
Okay.
We have Angel Garza. It says
Uh-huh.
it's who we are. You know,
Uh-huh.
we have Sam watching from Lagos. Dr. Matula. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, Dr. Matula, for watching. We have Jody Calderon. Not easy, but it's possible.
Yes.
Patrick O'Hain is greetings from Ghana. Hi, Patrick. I hope you're feeling better. And Hel is also saying, fast-paced society, we need empathy. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for the comments that keep it coming. Keep the comments coming. Oh, and he's also saying, teach them the right attitude to be successful. Love this. And Margaret Fowler is saying how awesome this program is.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and they're saying it before they're even hearing the results.
Yes.
So,
Well,
what do we know? So, keep the comments coming. And now we're going to hear, how are your results? Because this is not just a yesterday organization.
right. We give 100%. And so we get back 100%. We have now students who come, remember, they have all Fs or at least four, are now graduating from high school with GPAs of 3.5, 3.8, some 4.0, and
Wow.
getting scholarships to universities and colleges where they would never, ever, ever qualify to be in, and are now becoming successful. Not only are they going to colleges and universities and getting great jobs, we're also even hiring them. We hire them at the Firehouse so
Wow.
that they can encourage and inspire and motivate others to say, look at, I was in your situation. Look at, I came from this program,
Wow.
and now look at me. We have one young man who became an entrepreneur. He is now a millionaire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And financially helps Firehouse to keep the program going.
So
See,
that's amazing, because again,
yeah,
you're not giving them extra lessons. You're not doing
no,
homework now. You're not
no,
making them feel inferior in any way. This is an organization that takes the fantastic failures, not
yeah.
failures, failures, and says, you're not a failure.
No.
You're just not being taught.
Yes.
And this is, you hear me preach it. It's not the children that are failing. It's the teachers, because they're not teaching how the kids are learning. You
Yeah,
know,
and
we
see,
have this discussion. Catherine Perez is saying so good, wow, and Mr. Garza is saying amazing. You know, thank you so much for watching and commenting, because it's true.
yes.
I did a project because my daughter is dyslexic and cannot read middle of words.
Hmm.
In Jamaica, every week they take a spelling test in school. Every week in prep schools. So what happens is, the one thing their intelligence is judged on, or their academics, is spelling. So and they get the results right away. So every week you're told if you're a good student or a bad student because of one subject. My daughter, being dyslexic, can read but can't spell because she thinks she's spelling something and she's not spelling it properly because the things are missing. So I designed these spelling videos using neurolinguistic programming, attacking all the different types of learning, using my background in educational television, and then understanding that exactly this. So I said, and it worked. She started getting 100% in spelling videos. In spelling, she started getting 100%. So then I took it to the other schools, the public schools in Jamaica. And what I found is if you did not have a learning disability towards spelling or dyslexia, you had to watch the video 3 times to get 100%. But if you were fine, you could watch it once and get 100%. Now, I interviewed the teachers and I was given these kids because they were failing. Okay?
Okay.
They were all failing. And when I interviewed the teachers, I said, describe these children, slow and lazy. I mean, I'm not joking. Slow and lazy. The teachers couldn't think of an imaginative way to describe them. Nothing original, slow and lazy. After 6 weeks of running the program, the teachers came back to me and said, why are my students getting 80% and B's and A's in my other subjects since you've been teaching them spelling? I said, well, it's because their confidence is now up.
Yeah.
And because they're achieving in one subject and realizing it's not them, it's the way they're being taught.
Yes. And not only that,
started going up. And Jean is saying with encouragement, growth can be amazing, just as Firehouse has demonstrated. Thank you for doing such great works.
And see, another problem is that the teachers don't understand why the kids aren't learning. A lot of these kids come from broken homes. A lot of these kids are not given breakfast in the morning or woken up with the honey, it's time to get up and go to school. They're waking themselves up. Mm-hmm. And when they get to school is when they get to school. It's not because they want to be late. It's because that's when they woke up. Nobody woke them up. Okay. Mm-hmm. Nobody fed them breakfast. Okay. Nobody helped them with their homework when they came home from school. Okay. And see, who can sit there for 6-8 hours on an empty stomach? I know I can't. And pay attention while your stomach goes
beyond that. It's
so we also feed them.
But I agree with you, but then on the flip side, my son can't even, because his stomach is upset in the morning. He doesn't go to school with breakfast. Mm-hmm. So there are also medical issues why they don't eat breakfast, but they go to school and they'll eat at 10 or whatever. But it goes back to exactly what you're saying. The teachers, they're taught to teach a certain way. Mm-hmm. But times are changing, and they have been changing. COVID hasn't changed anything more than just drastically made everybody aware of changes.
Right.
Teachers need to change with the students they have in every class. They teach the same thing every year, thinking they have the same children every year, and they don't.
No.
Right? They don't. And you're perfectly, and then what you're doing is, instead of them being the parent partner, which you heard me talk about that before, they are the parent blamer.
Yes.
So they say, oh, it's a parent's job to feed them, and why aren't they doing this, and why aren't they doing this? Instead of being a parent partner and calling the parents and saying, something's up with Johnny.
Yeah. And see, and they don't call until they're failing, right? Until they're being suspended or being kicked out. Then they call. Why didn't they call when they noticed a pattern, right? If you have this child every day, you can recognize patterns. It shouldn't be hard to recognize if somebody's doing well and then all of a sudden they're not doing well anymore.
Yeah.
What happened? Go find out. Is something happening at home, right? Is something going on that they're now failing when they were doing so well, that they were happy and now they're not happy anymore? When they were playing with other children, now they're alone. What's going on? We have to be aware. We have to continuously check and see what is going on. Why is this happening? There's a pattern that's broken. What is that? Why is that happening? And if you just get angry and mad, oh, then now they're lazy, like you said. They said,
Mm-hmm.
they were doing so good and now they're lazy. Okay, why are they lazy now? What's going on?
But that's
If
the
we don't
self-reflection. That's the
exactly,
self-awareness as a teacher and as a parent. I mean, going back to now the blame game,
Mhm.
we always have the blame game between parents and teachers, and are constantly
Mhm.
pointing fingers at each other and not
Yeah.
working together. You know,
And see, and that's what Firehouse is. We're the mediator.
yeah.
We mediate between the parents and the teachers. We go investigate. We go find out. They open up to us. They tell us their problems. They tell us what's going on at home, why this is going on. And so then we go relate it. So see, we need mediators,
Yeah.
and they feel comfortable. Why do they feel comfortable opening up? Because they know we really care, right?
Yeah.
They know that we really want them to succeed. We really want them to have the best education so that they can have the best job, they can have the best careers.
Mhm.
So we're not mad at you if you have an F, because we know Fs can turn into D's. D's can turn into C's. C's can turn into B's. B's can turn into A's. We're not expecting them to go to a D to a D to an A.
Mhm.
We celebrate their success. A F to a D is a big celebration.
Yeah.
To some people, what do you mean? You're celebrating a D? Yes,
Because they
because
came from an
it's
F.
better than an F. Exactly. And so you have see, this is the kind of encouragement these kids need. This is the kind of empowering these kids need.
Yeah.
That yes, they're not the A student, but they're no longer the F student either. Right?
Yeah.
They're no longer the F student. And as hard as you work to get from F to D, you can do that and get it from a D to a C. You
And
can
what a
do that
difference
and get a C to a B.
and what a difference you make in the parents' lives. So let's
Mm,
look at that. You say you advocate for the kids, but you also advocate for the parents, because let's not sugarcoat a single parent's life. And this is where, and I'm going to explain to you, this is where family civility comes into play. Family
mhm.
civility is a universal design for families, where all
Right.
families are loved, supported, and shown civility no matter their race, gender, biologicalism, sexuality, and composition. Meaning, we cannot
Right.
train a child, or we cannot treat a child from a nuclear family the same as a child from a single parent family. But what's more important is you cannot make them feel they are less than because
That,
they
that's
come
it.
from the family they come from.
That's right.
Equity needs to be shown, not equality. What happens in
That's
school is
right.
there's equality, but not equity.
Mhm.
Where you come in, which I'm so admirable about, is that you go and investigate, and and the parents now see you as a parent partner. They're grateful for your help. They're not
Yes.
pointing fingers, because you're not pointing fingers to them. You're not judging
That's
them
right.
as a single parent. You're not making them feel bad for the choices they have made in their life. Right? And teachers have to stop doing that. Oh,
That's
I
right.
know you come from a single mother home, and your mom did this, and oh my, how many times parents are judged in front of
I
their
know.
kids?
I know. And see, and when they get the report card, that's when they find out that their child is struggling. So we let them know that they're beforehand that their child is struggling. And so we help them get a tutor. We help them, find a solution for that
Mhm.
problem, because see, all they know is that their child is failing. They have no idea why they're failing.
Or how to fix it,
Thank you.
right? And this is and
Right.
the teachers are just saying your child's failing. It's your
That's
fault. You
right.
don't feed them in the
That's right.
morning. Why don't you get out
Mhm.
of your bed? Now, how are you going to feel? Oh, maybe I'm not even in my bed. I'm doing a night shift.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
by the way, I can never get you. Oh, I email you, Mrs. Harper. Like, I'm like, first of all, I'm
Mhm.
not Mrs. Harper. I'm Miss Harper. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
can you at least address me in my correct, But I mean, not that. And as I said, I'm an advocate for parents, and I am a parent, but I have made my life that way, and I'm honored that I have helped to make my life that attentive to my kids. Not everybody has that.
That's right.
And let's look at Silicone Valley. WhatsApp was my greatest tool as a parent partner. I would ask the teacher their WhatsApp number. Up here, only private numbers. You cannot contact the teacher other than email. And one teacher actually said, "Oh, please don't email me at night." I'm like, it's the only time I got a chance to email you. You don't have to read it. Wait till the morning. Marisol, Gina's saying, with encouragement, growth can be amazing, just as Firehouse has demonstrated. Marisol is saying, yes, relationships. And there are many parents today that are children themselves. That is a very good point. How many, in your years of working with Firehouse children, how many are the parents' children themselves? And this is generational.
Yes. Most of them are parents themselves that are just trying to be a kid themselves with a kid, right? Trying to enjoy themselves as a kid too, but yet have a kid. I mean, it's crazy. They have no understanding of how to be a parent because they're a kid still themselves. And they still want to have fun, and they still want it, right? And they still want to do the things that a kid does. But yet now they have a child, and so now they have to take care of them. And so it eliminates them from being the child that they still are. Yeah. And a lot of them are still going to school themselves.
Yeah. See, teachers need that golden question when they're working with parents. If the shoe was on my foot, how would it feel?
Thank you.
And that's where, and I love that question. When Dr. Rivers initially, I've grabbed onto it, and it seems every week I ask that question. Teachers, if you were the parent of this child,
yes,
how would you like your teacher to treat you?
Yes. Unfortunately, my oldest daughter and my second, they got pregnant young. Okay. But that didn't stop us from helping them get their education. My husband would get up, take my granddaughters to the childcare, daycare, take my child to school, pick them up, pick up the child, because I was adamant. This was me every morning. Up.
Yeah.
Up. I would not. I know I was irritating.
No,
but let me tell you, yeah, until they were up, I did not let that be an excuse for them not to continue school. And see, a lot of times, oh, well, now they're the parent. It's the end of the world. It is not the end of the world. No. And as parents, we made sure every single one of our children graduated from high school and continued on to be successful and they are now. All my children are successful. Why? Because they made a mistake. It was a mistake. I get it. But that didn't give them a reason to throw their lives away or for me to say, okay, well, now they're parents. I'm done. No, I was not done. We're never done. We're never done.
But that's showing the love and support to all family types. That's telling them your life is not done because you are not going through the cultural norm of getting married and having children.
Thank you.
Right? You got pregnant, but that doesn't mean your life stops. It's showing that is what family civility is about. That is what it is all about. Love, support, and civility to all family types.
That's right.
No matter what.
That's right. And you know what? A lot of times we're so good at giving advice to other people, right? Or helping other people. But you know what? That same advice, that same thing for that circumstance that you yourself may be in applies to us too. So if we were going to help other parents deal with their children that had gotten pregnant or, out of marriage, then we were going to do the same thing and be the example and prove that it works.
Yeah.
Prove that they still can be successful, just whether it's that mistake or, a lot of kids, they get caught up in, different lifestyles or, or addictions or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the success because of the support that they get during these times. Instead of throwing them out or say, forget it, or, you're not worth it, or, you now blew it, or whatever the circumstances is.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have to show tough love, right? Because you can't allow them to affect your other kids by continue allowing it. So it goes both ways. But I like to say you have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to walk away, because every child is different. Every child, right? They respond different, they react different, right? I have 3 daughters that I'm very close to. I talk to them every day, all day, but sometimes my husband says, who are you talking to like that? I have this one daughter, right? That's how we talk. We love each other to death. We have the best relationship. Another daughter I have, we laugh. So he says, there you are, getting your mother's getting you in trouble again, because we like to laugh and joke, right? I have my oldest daughter. She is, bills, savings. She's just on it, right?
Yeah.
I have to change relationships with each one so that I can have a strong relationship according to who they are, not according to who I want them to be.
Yes, you've read that book. You've read the book, Raise the Child You Have, Not the One You Want.
Thank you.
Yeah, I read that book all the time. My son taught me that one because I was reading my Olympian, and he's like, Mom, I don't like to compete. I was like, but you're so talented. I agree with you. I actually always say that I have three children. They may have came out of the same place, but they're completely different people.
Completely. Oh my God.
My dad said it actually. He goes, I love all my children the same. I like them differently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. My mom would tell me all the time. My mom would say, you are unique. She had 8 children. You are unique. Out of all the children I have, you are unique. But you know what? She let me be me.
Yeah.
She knew who I was, and she let me be me for who I was. You know what? I said, after all, Mom, you raised me, right? So I am only a product of what you raised. So if you raised someone unique, so now you have to accept my uniqueness. And she did. She was so good at that. She was so good at accepting my uniqueness.
That is amazing. So let's talk about your book, and how can people get in touch with you? Because do you have, if anybody wants to start this model of Firehouse in their countries, because we have people all over the country, one thing I heard about your model is you are not an after school homework club. You are there to mediate between school and family. You're there for the motivation. You're there for the finding their talents. You're there as their coach, their life coach. You're a youth coach.
Right. You never graduate from Firehouse. You never graduate. No, we have people 30, 40 years old still part of Firehouse.
Oh, amazing. So this is your model. How people can get in touch with you to because we need to move away from the homework clubs.
Right.
This is a model that obviously works. Obviously. How can we get in touch with you? How can we move the model from Silicon Valley outwards?
Well, the best way is to go onto our website. It's the-firehouse.com. And our number is 408-593-0207. Okay. And that's our personal phone number. My husband never changes his phone number. He's had that phone number forever, because there's kids that come back 10 years later and say, oh my God, You help me do this. You help me do that. I'm so grateful. And he wants to be able for them to still be able to contact him no matter what. So he never changes his number. He gives it out to the whole world, right? Because he wants to make sure that at any time, any hour, they can contact him. He gets phone calls sometimes 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And he diverts them from doing what they would have done if he would have not answered that phone call.
Wow.
So our job is 24/7, never begins and it never ends.
Amazing.
Whatever time, whatever hour, whatever need, that is what Firehouse is all about.
Wow. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you and your husband for the amazing work you're doing. We're going to do a rebroadcast through YouTube of this show, so I will definitely post the website to Firehouse and the telephone number.
Okay.
That is so amazing that you're willing to open up your lives and your home to anybody. It's an amazing model. I mean, I couldn't be more happy to have somebody to speak about this model, because it is a true sense of family civility. And this is where it is, you know, you don't belittle, you don't judge, you accept all families, and you let these children know that no matter which family they're part of, you did it for your girls.
Yes.
You did it for your girls, just what you did for your girls, to make them not feel bad. And not be guilty, and not feel that they've made a mistake, but they've made it is just their path in life, which if they didn't do what they did, imagine how many kids would be suffering now.
I know. And the best part about it is I get to love my grandchildren now that they had. I tell everybody we should have had them first.
You know, that's not fair, you know, because I actually said that to my mom. Seriously, I gave birth to 3 kids, and now I'm no longer your daughter. Yeah. You get jealous, just for the record.
Yeah, I know. I have 13 grandchildren and 2 great-grandsons.
And you look so young.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we love them all, and we have so much fun as a family. We are very family orientated, so it's just a joy.
Amazing. Well, keep safe in the COVID. I want to thank you again for being on Let's Talk Family Civility. We definitely spoke family civility today, and not just with the youth, but in Silicone Valley. And keep up the amazing work.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So next week, same time, 4 p.m. Eastern, Let's Talk Family Civility. And I look forward to speaking with you next week.